I feel really sorry for myself editing this because I am like tripping over my words today. So it's gonna be a task. Hey guys, this is Eliza and welcome back to a new video. So today we'll be wrapping up the reading rush. I had a really successful reading rush in my opinion. So I read 11 books during the reading rush. I started 12 books. I completed all 7 challenges. My total page count for the readathon was 2,259 and that includes audiobooks and physical books as pages. I didn't track them separately this time because for the reading rush website you had to track by pages only. So I tracked my audiobooks in normal pages. So yeah, and as I said, I finished all 7 challenges and I also got all the badges that I planned on getting. The only one I didn't get was the read-in badge, and that was because I live in rural Australia. There was no read-ins anywhere near me, and they did hold 2 virtual ones, like ones over Instagram Live, but one of them I didn't see until, well, I didn't see the announcement for until after it happened, and the other one was like 4 o'clock in the morning. So I missed those ones. So yeah, let's just jump into the books that I read during the reading rush. So I'll start out with the challenges and then we'll move on to the other books that I read that weren't specifically for a challenge. So the first challenge was to read a book with a purple cover, and for this one I read The Smell of Other People's Houses by Bonnie Sue Hitchcock. This one I listened to on audiobook and it was a bit of an odd book. Like, there wasn't a ton of plot, there wasn't a ton that kept me actually interested in the book. So I was kind of like, what just happened? I'll put my ratings on the screen because I can't remember exactly what I rated it. But yeah, I'm not really 100% sure what the book was fully about. So it was a little interesting. So the next challenge was to read a book in the same spot the entire time, and for that one I read Heartstopper Volume 1 by Alice Oseman. This is a graphic novel and this was really quick to read. I think I read this, it's 260 pages and I think I read it in about 45 minutes because there's only like 10 to 20 words tops per page. Some pages don't even have words on it. So yeah, it was a really quick read. I really enjoyed it. I went into this knowing it was a romance. This is described as boy meets boy, boys become friends, boys fall in love. So I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I think because I went into it knowing it was just going to be straight romance, I kind of accepted it before I went into it. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's really cute and I like the art style. So yeah, that was the one I read in the same spot the entire time, and I read this on my lounge out the front. The next challenge was to read a book that you were meant to read last year, and for this one I read The Wicked Plus the Divine Volume 6. This is another graphic novel and I also love the artwork of this one as well. It is like very colourful. I'm obviously on Volume 6, but this series I am reading it, but I don't absolutely love it. I only rated about 4 stars I think. It's enjoyable, it's got an interesting premise and I like seeing what happens, but it's not like 100% favourite, but it's pretty good, and like I said, I really like the art style. It's really pretty. So the next challenge is read an author's first book, and for this one I read We Rule the Night by Claire Eliza Bartlett. This was another audiobook and I really enjoyed this one as well. It was a YA fantasy situation and I had a lot of fun reading it. I read it very quickly and it is a debut, so it fits the challenge. The next challenge is to read a book with a non-human main character, and for this one I read The Hobbit, illustrated by J.R. Tolkien, illustrated by David Wenzel. This was just a fun way to consume the story. I really love The Hobbit movies. I'm not 100% a huge fan of the book. I found it a little boring, but this I prefer a lot more because it is condensed, so a lot of the kind of boring stuff is kind of skipped over and we just have like the main plot points. So I really enjoyed it and the art style is pretty nice. Gollum is like way creepier in this than he ever was in the movie or the book. I'm just saying. But yeah, I really enjoyed this, and if you're a fan of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, I definitely recommend picking this one up. Non-human main character because it's a hobbit. The next challenge was to pick a book with 5 or more words in the title, and for this one I read Tiffany Sly Lives Here Now by Dana L. Davis. This was another audiobook and I really freaking enjoyed this. This was a YA contemporary, however there was no romance. Like, there was a side romance, like one of the sisters was in a relationship, but that was it. And I really enjoyed that because the reason I say I don't like contemporaries is because like 99% of them feature romance, and I'm not a romance reader. I don't like romance books. So this was really good. It was all about family and dealing with medical stuff, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. 5 out of 5 stars. I had so much fun reading that. The next challenge was to read and watch a book to movie adaptation, and for that one I reread Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling and annotated it. Look at all those sticky notes. I am slowly making my way through rereading these and it is so much fun. I love this series obviously so much, so it's really fun to be back rereading them physically because it's been a fair while since I've reread them physically. I usually reread via audiobook. So yeah, I had a heap of fun and then I watched the movie, so I completed the challenge. So now onto the books that I read that weren't for the readathon. First off, I read 2 issues of Giant Days. I read issue 47 and issue 48, and I think these are by John Allison, is that what the name is? I'm not 100% sure, but I've been slowly making my way through these and I needed to read those last 2 issues to complete volume 12, which they're technically volumes, but on Scribed they're as single issues, so I did read them as issues. And then I read 2 ebook novellas slash companion kind of books. First off was Becoming the Dark Prince by Kerry Maniscalco, and this is a novella for the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. This one follows Thomas Cresswell during the events of escaping from Houdini and also afterwards, and I enjoyed it. It wasn't my favorite. I didn't love the love triangle that was happening in Escaping from Houdini, and that does come up a fair bit in the first couple stories because this is kind of split up into different time zones. It's not like one full novella, it's like Thomas's point of view from different things. So I didn't enjoy the first ones because I'm just like, ugh, get on with it. But then in the end, I really enjoyed those other ones. So I think I rated this like 4 stars or something. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't my favorite. And it's not like necessary to continue with the series, I don't think. Next, I read On the Merits of Unnaturalness by Samantha Shannon. And this is kind of like a guidebook that is mentioned in the Bone season by Samantha Shannon. And it's basically just giving you a breakdown of the clairvoyant gifts and what each of them mean, what each of the words mean, what those people can do, and that type of thing. So that was really interesting. I've been meaning to read it for ages as I have it on an ebook and I purchased it a while back. So I finally decided to get to that. So that was all the books that I read during the reading rush. However, I did also start Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie on audiobook on the last day. I got about 45% through that one, I think, but I didn't quite finish it through the readathon. So yeah, that is all the books that I read during the reading rush. I do have a full wrap up for July coming because I have read books in between Biannual Bibliothon and the reading rush, and I'll talk about every single book that I read, which is crazy because by the end of the month it'll be getting close to 30 books. So it's been a little bit hectic. So yeah, that is it for this video. Let me know what you guys read during the reading rush. What was your favorite book that you read during the reading rush? And that is all for now, and I'll see you guys in the next video.